Hey guys, welcome back to our continuing coverage of Ace Comic-Con. Sitting here right next to me is probably the most influential and important guest we've ever had on the Chuckload Comics
I couldn't agree more.
channel. He is the supervisor of visual development for Marvel Studios, has been for 10 years pretty well, you know, a couple of promotions along the way, but you've been with Marvel Studios. Guys, give it up for the one, the only Mr. Andy Park.
Woo!
Yeah, it's an honor to be here, man.
How you doing, man? How's your morning? How's day 3?
Day 3, the final day of Ace Comic-Con. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but I am exhausted.
Oh, man,
I bet.
every time I go over to your booth, you got a line literally around the corner and down the block.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
So what can you tell people if they're a little bit unfamiliar with who Andy Park is? Like, what's your story, man?
Oh, man. Do you want the short story?
I want the short story because I know you got to get back to your
I
booth.
know. I started off the first 10 years of my career as a comic book artist. I first got hired by Rob Liefeld way back in the
Sweet.
mid-90s.
Nice.
Creator of Deadpool, right? And then I made a switch over to concept art about 2005, and I first worked for the God of War video game series, doing concept art,
Gosh.
designing characters, creatures, and all that kind of good stuff. And then 2010, I got hired by a guy named Ryan Meinerding, Charlie Wen, Kevin Feige. Told them, let's form an in-house group of artists that are full-time, that are working on all our connected movies for the years to come. So I got hired specifically to start working on the Avengers. So 2010,
Oh, wow.
I got hired. This is my 10th year there. A little correction from your intro. My official title is Director of Visual Development.
Okay.
So yeah, I lead half of the films. Ryan Meinerding, the head of visual development, leads the other half. So I've led films like Captain Marvel, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Black Widow, currently Shang-Chi and WandaVision.
Black Widow.
Can't wait.
Black Widow hitting theaters pretty soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the next movie.
So you talk about how, I mean, obviously you designed the costumes, just pretty much the entire character look, the entire kind of universe look. You mentioned earlier about Kevin Feige having the forethought to sort of put together his own team
Yes.
that's going to develop this whole thing. I mean, what's it like working with Kevin Feige?
Oh my God.
Compared to maybe like the team you worked with over at Gods of War and Sony.
Well, I'm not. Kevin Feige. It's amazing because he's amazing. It's really great to work for someone that you can trust.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
That's
I have meetings with them all the time, with all the directors and the heads of the other departments, and I hear what he says. I have conversations with him, and he's just somebody that gets it. You know, it's a testament to why the past 10 years of Marvel Studios have experienced this level of success.
Yeah.
Is because of the leadership, because of him first and foremost. He's a fan first and foremost, but not only does he know the source material, the comic books, but he knows films. So he knows how to make films and comic books, and he understands and respects these characters and everything that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and all those dozens of amazing comic book artists have created, and he knows how to make good films. So
Yeah.
every decision he makes, like, it's one of those, in my head, whenever I hear him speak, I'm like, he gets it. Yes, I agree. So it's so awesome to have a boss like that.
How far in advance? Because Feige, just staying on the Feige topic, I mean, he's known for planning things 9 steps ahead. Like, he has a vision for something that's going to come out 10 years down the road. I mean, that's a testament to the MCU.
Yep.
I mean, how accurate is that? How far in advance does he come to you and say, hey, we're going to do Captain Marvel, like Captain Marvel, for example?
Yeah.
How many years ago did he say, we're going to do Captain Marvel's? Get to thinking.
You know what? I don't know, because I mean, I have conversations with him, but he keeps things close to, he doesn't share everything. He kind of lets you know when it's time. So I don't think he, exactly knew Endgame is going to be 60 hero characters on screen, and specifically which character is going to be on screen. I think he had a general idea of, like, this is the end game. This is where we're headed.
Right.
But of course, it's an evolution as we're going forward. As you get a Sony deal and get Spider-Man in there, as people respond to certain characters like Ant-Man, they're like, oh, he can have a more prominent role. I think he's a master at seeing. He has the big picture in mind, the general big picture, but he's a master of seeing as things evolve with each film. He's like, oh, this is perfect, and this is how it can work. And knowing the source material of the comic books, hey, that would be awesome. You can have this moment, you can do this. So yeah, he's got it all in his head, but he just keeps it close to his chest.
Yeah.
He doesn't share it all.
Yeah, he doesn't share it with your entire
No,
visual
no.
development team.
No.
Well, speaking of evolution, I mean, you going back to the visual development team, The characters of the MCU have evolved. They evolve movie to movie, year to year. How organic is that evolution, or do you know? Okay, this is Iron Man's suit in this movie. This is going to be this one, or does it evolve based on the way the story? Hey, my voice is on the screen over there. Anyway, explain to us the evolution of the characters and how that sort of happens.
Yeah, that's part of the fun too, because for example, a character like Ant-Man. I designed him first for Edgar Wright on the first Ant-Man. Your voice is very loud over there.
Thank you. If you guys are watching this, they're playing a promo that I did on the Jumbotron right now.
I'm hearing double chuck. I'm developing his look for the first Ant-Man film, knowing it's retro, it's in the 60s, Hank Pym, and then next thing I know, his next appearance is in Civil War, Captain America Civil War. So I'm like, yay, so it's a character that I got to design. So you fall in love with these characters, and then I get to redesign them. So I redesigned them, but now it's a modern suit, and it's no longer for Peyton Reed or Edgar Wright. It's for the Russo brothers.
Right.
All right.
So I had to design him. And I have conversations with the Russo brothers, and they say what they, the little things that they want. I have to modernize them. In my head, a lot of times they don't really tell you. A lot of times, like what they want. Sometimes they're just like, "Oh, let's see what you come up with." So in my mind, when I was designing, the first Ant-Man is like it's Hank Pym, so he's like retro. He's not Tony Stark, right? But in the second, in Civil War, I was thinking maybe. Scott Lang was over Hank Pym's shoulder saying, hey, it'd be cool if you did this, you designed it this way. So that's why he has a little bit more, his helmet's a little bit more like anime, a little bit more updated. And then in the third Ant-Man appearance, which is Ant-Man and Wasp, Hank Pym designed it on his own again. He's like, forget you, Scott.
Exactly.
And that's why his look kind of went back a little bit to more the original look, but still updated.
That's
So that's kind of the
awesome.
thing that I go through in my head as I'm designing it. It's
Right.
not
How's
something
the
that's
story going to evolve
Yeah.
the look of the character?
Whoa.
That's really loud.
The good thing is that's not picking up in these mics. So.
Oh, it isn't? Oh,
No.
okay.
We actually have an audience Q&A right over there. You have a question for Mr. Andy Park?
I do actually. So in creating all these characters, is there any single character that you can think of that may have been slightly influenced by like a fan artist where they kind of saw something that somebody did and they're like, you thought, this is perfect. We need to integrate this little piece into this character.
No.
Boss Logic, for example?
No. I mean, we love seeing fan art. We love the enthusiasm that so many fan artists have. But no, there's no example of like taking. We look at the source material. We look at the comic books,
Right.
and then from there we're doing our research. And a lot of times it's interesting. A lot of the fan art that I see, they actually take our previous artwork and they basically photo bash it into theirs and they change it.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the answer.
So yeah, quick question for you here. So you said that Kevin Feige likes to keep things close to his heart and kind of tell you as you go.
Yes.
You got to be one of the most stressed out people ever. I mean, with and how this guy thinks about these things over such a long period of time, but he's only giving it to you as it comes. The expectation. I mean, can you tell us a story about maybe one time it was like the most stressful part of like doing this? Because I know you talked yesterday in a panel about the meeting you guys have every couple of weeks. Where you get together. Is there a time where it was like really stressful, or do you remember a specific time?
I mean, it's always stressful, but it's fun stressful. It's like it's always a challenge. I remember after Avengers, so I got hired, and I was working on Captain America, and then we quickly went into the Avengers. And it was one of those films where, like, when I grew up in middle school, high school with our friends, you're talking about comic books where like you can never do an Avengers film, right? That's impossible.
Yeah,
It's impossible.
yeah.
It's impossible. You can do like one character. We can't do like 5, 6, 7 main heroes.
Right.
So as I was designing stuff for the Avengers, it was one of those. It's a grand experiment. Like we didn't know if this is going to be successful. Just because Iron Man is successful doesn't mean Avengers is going to be successful.
Right.
You proved him wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
and then when it happened, we're like, whoa, it actually worked. And Joss and Kevin, they all figured it out. And then Kevin Feige came to our office, a group of artists, and he said, hey, one of the next films we're going to work on is called Guardians of the Galaxy. And we're like,
What's that?
what? I've heard of it. I've heard of it
Right.
because I grew up reading comics.
Right.
I never read a single issue.
Right.
I knew there was some kind of tree and some kind of raccoon.
There's a raccoon
and I was
in there
like,
somewhere?
I was like, what is Kevin smoking? Like doesn't he? Any other company would have just kept on doing Avengers types
Right,
of films,
right.
right? Because it's a sure bet. Kevin, that's why testament to Kevin. He was
Yeah.
like, let's think bigger immediately.
Yeah.
Let's
And
go.
then
Let's
to
go. Yeah,
get
he's
James
risky.
Gunn
It's a
involved, it
risk.
was- oh my gosh.
It could have been a
Yeah.
failure, but so we spent the next 2 weeks just doing designs. There's no
Oh,
story.
okay.
We just did like whatever we wanted. He just said, "Hey, blue sky, do
God,
whatever
I'd
you
love
want."
to see some of those original Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah.
sketches.
Yeah.
Right?
See how those guys have evolved.
Nailed
I
it.
posted it on my social and
Okay.
website, stuff like that.
Well, I got about a billion questions I'd love to ask. I know you got to get back to your table.
Yep.
Speaking of your social, you were the first person to drop on Twitter what Taskmaster is going to look like in the upcoming Black Widow movie.
Thank
Can you
you.
just
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit about the design of Taskmaster and what we can maybe expect to see in Black Widow?
Trying to get spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Just
I-
a general vibe.
I'm trained. I know what I can and can't say. So all I can say is it was fun designing Taskmaster.
Nice.
I can't. It's always fun to like the first time you introduce a new character and obviously a character that people love in the comics. So I led the team on Black Widow, and I got to design Black Widow as well. And I can't wait for everyone to see the designs we've done and the movie, because I've been watching all the dailies and it's awesome.
Really?
Kate Shortland, the director, and it's going to be something unique and fun.
What's Nova going to look like?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Nova.
What are you talking about?
Well, Andy Park, we can't thank you enough for coming by the Truckload of Comics booth. Truckload of Comics show, guys. Big round of applause, everybody out there, for Mr. Andy Park.
Thank you for being here, buddy. It's an honor.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
So
And thanks for checking out the show, guys, watching all our continuing coverage of Ace Comic-Con all weekend long here on the YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button, find Andy Park on social media, and have a fantastic con. We'll see you guys around the con floor. Have a great day.
Bye. Thanks again, Andy.
Thank you.